Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Beauty Industry Podcast, your online support community for the professional beauty industry, connecting you with educational pieces, innovative industry products, and inspiration from industry experts. I am your host, founding director of Beauty Industry, Tamara Shaw. Today we have a very special guest, someone who I am so excited to bring to your ears. Our guest today is a positive and creative educator who listens and understands her trainees' objectives and goals. She is a patient, relaxed, and flexible educator who embraces diversity and will seek alternative teaching modalities to meet the needs of various trainees and participants that comprise of doctors, nurses, clinical dermal therapists, and beauty therapists. Today we welcome the talented Nancy Abdou from the Australian Dermal and Laser Institute, also known as TADLI. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you, Tamara. What an introduction.
It's all you.
Very excited to be speaking with you.
Brilliant. Let me firstly congratulate you and the team at TADLI. We're going to refer to the Australian Laser and Dermal Institute as it's such a long name, so you always call it TADLI, for being nominated as Educator of the Year organisation in the Australian Beauty Industry Awards. How incredible is that?
Oh my God, we're so thrilled. We're so excited. It's a fantastic feat. So we're halfway there. Now we just need to win it.
That's it. I'll be sure to post a link and people can head to your page and vote for you.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Make sure you come along are you coming along to the ABS?
I am.
Yay!
I wouldn't miss it. Yes, I'm so excited.
Yeah, that'll be fantastic.
So first of all, Nancy, for those who don't know, can you give us a little bit of background about the Australian Dermal and Laser Institute, aka TADLI, just for those who perhaps haven't heard of it or may have seen you floating around on Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I started TADLI a few years back, but before that, it was my sisters and I, we had our own skin clinics. So we had 12 locations around Melbourne, and we just wanted to provide treatments that were above, standard and above average. And I think that's how, from one clinic, we managed to excel and open up 12 locations. And through that learning, that experience rather, through all of that, I was able to train all of our therapists and clinicians, and saw a need that wasn't being met or filled within the industry, from getting training from the actual manufacturer or schools to the actual workplace. And so this is where TADLI sort of was born, with that need in mind. And it's all about that quality education and being able to deliver not just a safe result, but an effective one too. So efficacy and safety go hand in hand. And so that's how it all started, being able to deliver exceptional results and at a particular standard.
Incredible. 12 locations. That's pretty phenomenal there.
It was hard work, but very fruitful too. But yeah, lots of hard work.
Nothing comes easy, does it?
Nothing comes easy. And I think from that, it was also that passion and drive that I had with education. And from that came all the hands-on experience that we deliver as part of our team, that we deliver in our training.
I do often see your videos and Instagram, and you're either on the bed or you're hands-on. And I really think that, coming from a therapist background myself, where sometimes visual or audio, it just doesn't cut it. We need to kind of get in there and be really hands-on and kinetic to learn. Do you agree with that?
100%. So, we always teach theory, and that's all the dry stuff. So a lot of people do immerse themselves in theory, and that's okay. But definitely we cement it with our practical side of things. And when we're teaching and training, we always say to our therapists or our attendees, you don't know unless you've tried. So as part of our training process, and even myself, I'll try something before I teach it. And so too, the therapist should be trying something before they can then sell it.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. What kind of workshops do you host there at TADLI?
Oh, we've got a whole heap actually. At the moment and currently running, we've got our hyperpigmentation workshops.
Mm-hmm.
We found that there was a major need and demand for people, especially with melasma. I wanted to know more about melasma and how to treat it, because it was one of those really tricky skin conditions that kept rebounding, or people weren't able to achieve the results. So our hyperpigmentation workshop is currently running, and also we've got our IPL refresher. It's an advanced refresher workshop.
Okay.
Yeah, we incorporate different modalities. So whether it's needling and IPL, or RF and IPL, or micro, whatever it might be. And of course, we've got our usual training sessions that we run all over Australia too.
Incredible. What kind of, what states do you host these trainings in?
Australia-wide.
Wow.
So all the different states. Poor Tassie misses out a little bit, but generally all the other states, we get around to.
Yeah, incredible. How just mind-blowing is that all over Australia.
Yeah.
In terms of then ongoing that advice to the therapist and then pushing that onto the client, you're sounding like you have a real multimodality approach in terms of not kind of one treatment is that hero highlight A+ treatment. It does take a few different, like combining your needling with your IPL or your IPL with high frequency. Do you agree with that kind of multifaceted approach to getting client their skin goals?
Definitely. I think you can reach a certain goal or an expectation, not expectation, results. Sorry. You can definitely reach that with a particular modality. But when you're combining modalities, you're able to push that particular device a little bit more and get a better result. Everyone who watches my Facebook lives know that I'm a lover of IPL, not IPL, but yes, IPL as well, but LED. Prepping the skin as well is really important to get the most out of, that let's say a needling device or your IPL device. So multi-layering or layering of different modalities, I think, is the way to go. And even the big manufacturers are going that way as well. So Cyton's going that way with their layering. Venus with their Tribella are sort of doing their layering and multi-modalities. And so I condone that, definitely, as long as you're safe.
Yes, absolutely. First things first, isn't it?
Yeah.
Within the last 3 to kind of 5 years, there's definitely been a huge boom in that kind of laser, medi-spa, skin clinic, aesthetic kind of bricks and mortar that we're seeing, and that real trend towards having the advanced skin treatments. Can you just explain for us what the kind of aesthetic world looked like when you first started with TADLI compared to what it looks like today?
So that's a good question, because there's been a lot of evolving that's happened over the last few years. I believe hair is your bread and butter. Most salons and clinics, perform hair removal treatments, but definitely skin is what's setting all the different clinics apart. So you've got all the chains that are doing the hair. Yes, that's great. But then one step in advancement, that's what's changed over the last few years, is more and more people are getting into the skin side of things. And I always say that if we can change someone's skin, then we can also change their confidence, thereby changing their lives. So I think that advancement and evolution has changed quite a bit. And I think it'll continue to change, where therapists are more dealing with, say, rosacea and melasma and acne, all the problematic skin. People want results.
Yes, and there's this real kind of trend nowadays towards less makeup, more natural results. But in terms of getting that natural skin look, I'm glowing without any foundation, without any mascara, etc., that's kind of been really great for our industry in terms of increasing our skin treatments, increasing the hair treatments there.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's actually a double-edged sword in a way, I think, because, can we always get that picture perfect skin? If someone's got ice pick scars, or if they've had really bad acne, we can achieve so much. So I think we need to be realistic in our consultation and make sure that the expectation is we'll be able to fix the skin or help with a certain condition. And the key word here is help and manage. But as long as we're being realistic, so the client doesn't walk away feeling let down, but can we achieve almost flawless skin? Definitely. And, have them wearing no makeup? I think we can with that multi-modality method.
Yeah, I completely agree. And even if it's not, as you were saying, managing those expectations of the client. So for me, I am sun damaged. I was looking like Lindsay Lohan, back in the 90s. I was so sun damaged from when I was little because my parents just didn't have that knowledge about SPF back then. And so nowadays I'm using things like pigment inhibitors, and I'm having the IPL and the laser, of course, with the peels and needling, I'm having everything. But, for me, it's to a point where right now I've reduced about 80% of my pigment. That for me is my kind of, okay, now I'm confident, foundation free. So I love how you're saying about getting that client the expectations. Absolutely, we can have a result, but not kind of overselling the treatment.
Definitely. And that comes back down to educating your clients. And, how do you educate your clients? You need to become educated. So if it's not attending courses, then it's doing your own research or watching the free Facebook Lives or whatever it might be to educate yourself. It doesn't have to cost anything. Sometimes good education can also be free. Mind you, your skin looks awesome, just saying. You're looking really good.
And so how often would you suggest that a therapist, a manager, business owner, whatever their title may be, should invest in some training for themselves to keep fresh and up to date with industry trends and everything that's happening in the treatment room?
Oh, that's a good question, because the evolvement of our different modalities in the industry, it's such a rapid evolvement that's actually occurring. And I think the fact that we've got internet and connectivity, like, it's not like we're sort of starting with one modality and eventually we're trying it and testing it over the years. We're able to provide that. It's something comes out and straight away everyone's on the bandwagon. So, we used to provide training every 2 months in our business.
Okay.
That's what we recommend. Oh, it's a really hard question, actually.
I guess it kind of depends on what your needs are. So, maybe if you're starting out in the industry, you do need to attend a few more classes more regularly as you become that kind of not perfect, but that higher educated therapist. As you were saying, every 2 months, every quarter. But the need for continual education is certainly a must.
100%. And I think you don't necessarily, like I said earlier, you don't necessarily need to be attending paid workshops. There's a lot of free content. So even if you're trying to motivate your staff, if you're a business owner, if you're trying to motivate your staff to, find out at a particular modality or an ingredient, we used to have quizzes all the time. So we'd get our staff in on a quiz, and if they would find out the answer, or if they pass this quiz, then they'd receive a free product, or they can have a family member coming in to do a series of free treatments. So rewarding your staff to learn is a very good incentive, but there's no specific, like you said, number of training sessions you'll do a year. I think it's always going to be ongoing.
Yeah, of course. And I think that your kind of self-passion and your your drive that gets you into the industry in the first place should kind of be your gauge. And I think perhaps for some managers as well, if you, or business owners, if you're seeing that your therapists are like, oh, I don't want to go to this training session. I already did that. Well, then obviously you can see that they don't have that certain passion and drive that we really need to get our clients amazing results, right?
100%. And, you know, not very often we do see that.
Mm.
It is a bit of a concern. So you need to find that spark in that person and go, okay, maybe you don't want to learn this. Well, let's look at your other forte or your strength and work on that, because everyone has a strength.
Mm.
So I think it's about finding that in our staff and developing that so it becomes a strong passion and their drive.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Do you think that the trend of advanced skin treatments and hair removal will continue to rise, or do you think everyone's jumping on it and it's going to plateau?
I think it will rise as the population naturally grows. I think it will rise, but what's going to set people apart, and this is where you'll either plateau in your business or you'll excel, is the results, being able to deliver the results. So being passionate and being, like you said earlier, having the drive is what is going to set people apart. It'll definitely continue to rise. I'll stop there, actually.
We hope it rises.
Will,
anyway,
I think, no, I do think definitely it will rise, and we're going to have more and more different technologies as scientists and the industry find different ways of maybe even stopping the aging process and helping the health and the integrity of the skin. I think there's going to be more of it.
Yeah, fantastic. And so this year I've seen that TADLI has launched into the devices of the plasma pen training. I saw your Facebook Live. You can tell I stalk you a little bit, don't you? With the plasma pen. And so I have no idea what it works. Obviously, I'm seeing some kind of wound or a trauma on the skin, and I understand how that works. But can you just give me a little bit of insight in our audience as to what that is? Who is the perfect client for it? What's the downtime? Just a little bit of a ballpark kind of idea.
Sure. So plasma, basically, it's a fractionated wound. So instead of creating one big wound over the skin, we're creating tiny little traumas everywhere. And the key here is to keep healthy skin in between each micro trauma. And this is the difference between having big downtime, a long downtime, and short downtime, even though the results aren't going to change. So with this, we're creating tiny little micro wounds, and it's like, I don't want to say a piece of steak, but I'm going to use this analogy. It's like having a piece of steak, putting it on your hot grill. What happens to that steak? Is that it shrinks. And so what we're doing is we're putting this heat into the skin, and we're contracting those collagen fibers. So immediately you're going to have a temporary contraction and a little bit of swelling. So it looks great from the outskirts, but 90 days later, so 3 months later, that's when you're getting that permanent contraction occurring. So a lot of people are saying, what's the fuss about plasma? The fuss is for what you're getting, the downtime, which is approximately, anywhere from 10 to 14 days. Some people do experience longer because possibly the treatment may have been performed too aggressively, but typically we say 10 to 14 days is the downtime. You can still go out, put makeup onto the micro wounds. It's not a problem, but there's a little bit of swelling if you're doing the blephs. The difference between this and other modalities and what the craze is all about is there's no other device that you can actually do a non-surgical blepharoplasty, which is the hooded eyes, and also very close to under the eyes as well. So with your lasers and IPLs and even certain peels, you're really limited to doing that section around the eye area. Whereas with this, the risk is low if performed correctly, and you can actually do the eye area. You can do any part of the body actually, but this is what sets this apart from all the other devices that are out there. You can do eyes.
So, Nancy, that sounds like a pretty fantastic treatment to have. Are you running courses on performing this pen treatment at TADLI?
Yes, we are. We're running them all over Australia. So we've got a few upcoming workshops. Melbourne has sold out for July already, so we'll be running some more, obviously in August. We've got one in Adelaide and another in Queensland and possibly Perth. So we're running them all over Australia.
And this is I always love that kind of June month of the year, because anything, well, possibly you spend on workshops and things like that, you can possibly claim back through tax. So June's kind of my month where I'm like, oh, what kind of workshops can I jump into now? So that's
Yes.
perfect time to jump on. In terms of finding workshops and where people can visit your classes, where would our audience head to?
So they could either look at our Facebook page in the event section. So there's a few there, but there's a whole heap on our website, which is dermalandlaser.com.au.
Fantastic. And one quick thing is that you also run the Facebook group, which I'm sure many of our listeners are already in, the Advanced Skin Devices Support Group. How did this group grow to what it is today, and where did you kind of think about that idea?
So the idea came from when we're teaching. So there's 12 of us, there's 12 trainers. When we're all teaching, we got together and a lot of people were actually giving us the feedback that they feel isolated. So we would teach them and they'd want then to communicate with us. And of course we teach hundreds and hundreds of people, every year, of course. And how do you then stay in contact with these people if we keep teaching more? And I'm finding I'm letting people down if I can't ring them back. So I thought, what a way to connect people in a non-threatening environment than to put them on this Facebook group. So there's 2,000, a little bit over 2,000 people that are on there now, that if you write something on there, you're going to get a response in a nice way, and no question's a silly question. And there's a bit of supporting and empowerment happening in that group. So I'm all up for empowering and inspiring, and that's what this group's all about.
Yeah, incredible. And you know that here at Beauty Industry, we are all about the community. So I love what you're doing in that group, and I love seeing all of the conversation. I'm like a little person on Facebook who I just hang back and I just watch, and I love, sometimes there will be a question, how is the best way to treat melasma, for example, and I've got an answer in my head, but then I see this thread of, you can do this, why not try this, or have you thought of this? And I think, oh my goodness, it's just such a good kind of way for everyone to, exactly as the name suggests, to express those ideas and have that support after workshops. So I really love that.
Definitely. And I think the support, it needs to be there, because it is an isolated industry. Usually, if it's a business owner, you might have one or two staff, or it might be that person on their own, in fact. And they go home and it's like, oh, well, how do I do that? Or how do I do that? They've got no one to talk to except for their husbands maybe, or their partners. And they want to then explore an idea. Well, who do you explore it with? So this group here, it is, like you said, it's a support group. We're here to, support and help each other. And I feel if I can succeed, I can help everyone else succeed. There's enough success in the world to go around for everyone.
I love that. Yeah, that's one of my kind of mantras, is that there is no such thing as unhealthy competition in this industry, because there's enough clients, there's enough money, the industry is big enough that everyone can share, develop that community, and really support each other.
100%. I love what you're saying. It's spot on, actually. And a lot of other I won't say other educators, but people out there who aren't willing to share sort of trade secrets or what they do to get a result. And I think, why? Let's just share it, and really sharing is caring. I know it's sort of a bit, but it's true. Sharing is caring. And I just think the more we can spread the word and how to do things in a safe and effective manner, well, the more successful we are as an industry, and the more highly looked upon we are going to be looked at as an industry.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So thank you so much for joining us today, Nancy. I truly appreciate your time and all of your insight into the industry, the laser sector, the skin sector, the advanced skincare sector. From the Australian Dermal and Laser Institute. I think in my introduction today, I have called you the wrong name, so I truly apologise.
Oh, that's okay.
Australian Dermal and Laser Institute. And if any of our audience want to sign up for your workshops, they can head to dermalandlaser.com.au.
Definitely.
Otherwise...
if they want to use the promo code early bird, they'll get $100 off before the end of this month. Like you said, tax time. So
amazing.
Early bird is a promo code.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that.
Pleasure.
If you have liked this episode today and you found the conversation inspiring, be sure to subscribe to our channel, share the episode with your industry colleagues, and make sure you hit that 5-star rating. If you're not already, make sure you're a community member via our website, Beauty Industry. That's beauty with an E, industry with an IE instead of the Y's. And make sure you're following all of our social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're across everything, as is TADLI. And make sure you stay up to date with the latest industry conversation. Until next time, stay connected. Thank you for tuning in to episode number 6 with Nancy Abdou. Stay connected for episode number 7 next week. We are chatting with Emma McDonald, a beauty therapist and naturopath, all about internal health for external skin conditions. Until next time, stay connected.